Hello, everybody, and welcome in live. I am your host, Matthew Miller. Um, Texas beats Wyoming 31 to 10. This is another episode of 40 Acres Postgame here live again with Matthew Miller on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, and SG1 Sports also. So subscribe over there. Guys, we're going to dive into this in a second, but before you do that, can you please subscribe to the channel, like the content? We're trying to grow this here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. And then also, could you subscribe to the new SEC channel? Please do that for Mark. Please do that for me. Really helps out what we're building here. So thank you for that. Next up, guys, just to breathe, it's expensive anymore. It really is. So if you're going to go to a college football game, why not save some money? I saw the Red River Rivalry was getting up to about $1,500 to $1,600 a ticket. That's insane. Go to ticketsmarter.com, type in code BIG for $10 off a purchase of $100 or more, which you're going to spend for college football tickets. And then type in BIG 20 for $20 off a purchase of $300 more. And that would be perfect for the Red River Rivalry game. So go do that. It's ticketsmarter.com. Don't be a dummy. Ticket Smarter, guys. So we're going to jump into this, guys, real quick. Texas struggles, starts slow, but wins the game 31 to 10. Honestly, very weird day of college football. Every team that played today that was a big name team, other than Ohio State, struggled. All of them started slow, but Ohio State at least turned it on in the in the third quarter. Texas, it took them all the way to the fourth quarter, and it scared me, guys. We go into that fourth quarter 10 to 10, and I'm thinking, I don't really like that. And I said we were going to get off to a slow start. My issue, guys, honestly, isn't with the slow start. It's the slow third quarter. So you go into halftime, you talk, you're up 10 to 7 at halftime, and then you come out, your one drive that you did get in that quarter, you don't do great. So I will say that there was only one drive, but then Wyoming takes up basically the whole quarter, comes down and scores a touchdown. That's the biggest thing to me. There has to be some effort, some fight. Like I said, Texas starts really slow in this game, and I'm not surprised. We played Alabama last week. A lot of energy, emphasis went into that game, a lot of the offseason thing. But the thing is, guys, it can still be like Quinn Ewers, man. You're 10. I believe he was like at 1.8 of like 18 or 19 in the first half. Like, it was not good. He was missing open throws. There were throws there he was missing. When that guy is on, he's on. But when he is off, he is way off. I just want consistency because, honestly, if he could be consistent at the quarterback position, we have the defense. They showed that. We have the wide receivers. They showed that. The offensive line is pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. The running backs struggled in the first half, picked up in the second half. Jonathan Brooks finishes with 164 yards rushing. But it's just one of those things, guys. If you come out and play a really good 1.5 quarters and punch them in the mouth and go up like 24 to 3, honestly, Wyoming probably quits. And Wyoming kind of came out knowing they can't really run the ball on us. I know the one running back, his name escapes me, did go for a really long touchdown run. Whaley, he had 110 yards rushing, but like 75 of that came on one run. But it's one of those things. We just need to be better. We do in the first quarter, second quarter, and even third quarter, we weren't great. Third quarter, at least versus Rice, we came out, ended the game. It was over going in the fourth quarter. I mean, this was 10 to 10 going in the fourth quarter. It took Xavier Worthy catching a pass at the line of scrimmage and then running 65 plus yards for a touchdown. So it's just frustrating, guys. It really is. There's too much talent on this team, and I really like what I saw from Jalen Ford, coming in and talking about or whatever he was talking about. I'm very interested if they'll talk about that in the postgame show. He rounded up the whole team, yelled at him, screamed at him, and it clearly got him going. They scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. You see the Xavier Worthy touchdown. You see the Jaron Thompson pick six, and then the other touchdown came a little bit later. Or I may have had those confused. Jaron Thompson's may have been last, but thank God we're not going to be watching this on the Longhorn Network anymore. Guys, I had to stream this, and the connection was terrible. It kept going in and out. I missed so much of this game. I'm going to have to rewatch it, but I did get enough to know that, obviously, the first half I got most of. The second half, of course, when they were playing better, I didn't. But it proved to me that Wyoming knew they couldn't run the ball other than the one guy they had that broke off the 70-yard run, because if you take that out, guys, he had 17 carries for like 35 yards. That's not very good. So that's why they came in with Evan Skoboda. Like, that guy's a better passer than Andrew Peasley. We talked about Andrew Peasley in the preview show. Andrew Peasley is not a good passer. His career completion percentage is like 53%. He's more of a runner, and that's why I think you saw Skoboda coming in the lineup, because they said, we're not going to be able to run versus this team consistently, at least. And I think Texas, honestly, wasn't really prepared for that the first couple drives. Then they got used to it. But Wyoming really ran only like 3 or 4 plays the whole night. They kept running freaking 5 to 10-yard out routes, and that's how you saw the Jaron Thompson pick finally come. He said, "Screw it. They're going to keep throwing these. I'm just going to sit on one and run at it and get it," and he did that. So he did a great job on that. Overall, the defense played a really good game, giving up only 10 points to a team that I think is a top, like, if we're ranking college football teams, they're in the 60 to 70 team range. Obviously, they're not a great team, but they're an average Division I football team, and we beat them at the end of the day, 31-10. I'm not going to hate on it, but it's very frustrating because the biggest challenge left on our schedule, guys, is us. That's it. It's us. This Big 12 is not good. We saw South Alabama beat Oklahoma State. They didn't just beat them, they killed them. They killed Oklahoma State. Iowa State, who I said was going to be the worst team, lost today versus Ohio. I think when I checked last, Cincinnati lost to Miami of Ohio. The bottom of the big, we don't play any of those teams, sadly for us. Kansas State lost to Missouri, but these teams aren't that good, guys. We do play Houston. We play TCU. I was watching that game. Those teams are not good. Texas, if you bring your B game, I'm not even asking to bring your A game. Bring your B game. Your B game, we win these games by 2 touchdowns. If we bring our A game, we win them by 3. These teams are not good. When we play Baylor next week, we should win that game by 14 plus points. Baylor's not good. They won't have their quarterback Shapen. Blake Shapen will not be in that game. So you need to assert your dominance early on a team, squash their hopes of winning the football game, and end them early. Because you saw that with Wyoming, and it did get scary there. What I will say is, year 1 under Steve Sarkisian, we lose this game. In year 1, you don't get that speech from Jalen Ford. In year 1, you don't get the fight like you did in the fourth quarter. They just lay down and die there, and we have that. So I will say that. But Quinn Ewers is the one, in my opinion. This team is going to go as far as he does. It's on the arm of that guy because we can't run the ball consistently enough to win football games. We can't. We couldn't do it versus Wyoming. We couldn't do it versus Alabama. We couldn't do it versus Rice. This is on the arm of Quinn Ewers. And I know that's a lot of pressure, but at the end of the day, I've said this a bunch. The guy's the number 1 ranked high school quarterback of all time. Nut up, buddy. Nut up. It's on you. Go out there and you had guys running open in that first half that you just missed. And it seems like he gets very lackadaisical and just like, oh, I'm good. Just throw it up. You saw it all on the first or second drive that Texas had where he almost throws an interception in the red zone. And instead of 7-3, it would have been 7-0. And maybe even more. Maybe they return that for a pick 6 and it's 14-0. It was very lackadaisical today from Quinn Ewers. I was not impressed. His wide receivers honestly did drop a couple. I think there was 2 drops in the first half, but it's just not impressive from him, honestly. He just hasn't been good enough. And if Texas wants to go where Texas wants to go, Quinn Ewers is going to have to step up. Quinn Ewers is going to have to be that guy that played in the fourth quarter at Alabama. And just a quick note on Alabama, I think Alabama's defense is very good, so I don't think that was smoke and mirrors. But Alabama overall as a team is not great. They're probably a 9-3 team, honestly. I think the rest, honestly, college football all around seems to be down this year. I don't think there's any great team that I've seen. Georgia even struggle today, like we talked about a little bit earlier. Everyone seemed to struggle. Penn State didn't look great, in my opinion, versus an Illinois team that got absolutely mollywopped at Kansas last week. So it's just one of those things, guys. Just survive in advance. I think it's going to be that type of year. But for Texas, you're 3 down. You have 9 more left. You can lose 1 game and go to the college football playoff. You can't lose 2. Not in the Big 12 this year. No chance, no way, and no how. So you have to nut up in versus the rest of these opponents and play well. And like I said, the biggest obstacle is in the mirror. It's every guy when they wake up in the morning and look at themselves in the mirror. That's the biggest obstacle for the Texas Longhorns is themselves. It really is. Baylor does not scare me. Oklahoma and Kansas, honestly, guys, are the only team where I think if we bring our B game, we could lose. If we bring our B game versus everyone else, we would win. Oklahoma and Kansas are the only ones I think we have to bring our A game for. And I expect us to bring our A game versus Oklahoma. Kansas, I think we should. They've beaten us under Steve Sarkisian, so we should. And Jalen Daniels should scare you if you're a defense. So we'll see. But I don't think Kansas State even could beat us if we played our B game. I don't think, let's see who else we play. Iowa State, we could play a D game. We could play like we did tonight and we'd beat Iowa State by 3 or 4 touchdowns. They're worse than Wyoming. The only chance they have is at home, and it's coming off the TCU game, but they are god awful. They are really, really, really bad. Now, let's get to some good parts. I did touch on it a little bit, but the fourth quarter was great. After that speech, they played great. They played enthusiastic. Quinn Ewers came in for the rushing touchdown, got all pumped up. And do that. What is the difference? Why can't you do that in the first quarter? The defense played well the whole night. Jahdae Barron was the star of the game. He was the best player on the field tonight. props to him, props to the defense. You saw him, you saw Jaron Thompson. I like what I saw from Tavondre Sweat for the most part. He took some plays off, in my opinion. Anthony Hill, I didn't really see much of till the fourth quarter. Jalen's fourth speech definitely helped. There's no doubt about it. This team came out totally different after that speech, so props to him. And at the end of the day, too, I want to hit on this. Steve Sarkisian, buddy. You can't – this guy goes from an absolute wizard versus Alabama calling plays to – a gnome versus Wyoming. Like, what the fuck was that? That was terrible play calling. Terrible play calling. All it was he ran like 7 or 8 screens in the first half, like 10 in the game, kept running the same runs off the tackle by Jonathan Brooks that weren't working. It was just bad in the first half. It really was, and it didn't turn around, honestly, till the fourth quarter. And it may have turned around in the third if we got another possession. The first possession wasn't terrible. We just only got one. But overall, it has to be better. Again, do I think we can come out and play like this in the first half versus most of the teams in the Big 12 and still win? Yes, I do, because that's how bad the Big 12 is. But the problem is, if you consistently do that, you're going to fall into a pattern. And there's 2 or 3 teams, like I said, on the schedule that you can't do that versus. I don't think you can do it versus Kansas. I don't think you can do it versus Oklahoma. Kansas State's a maybe on that, but everyone else you could probably do it against. But guess what? 3 losses, and you may not even make the Big 12 championship game with 3 conference losses. So you can't do that. You can get away with 2 if your goal is just the Big 12 championship game, but that's all you can get away with, because in my opinion, guys, looking around the country, this team should make the college football playoff. To me right now, if I'm just based off of what I've seen at their best, I think Washington, USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Texas, and Florida State are in like that conversation of making the college football playoff. I think those are, what did I name, 7, 8 teams there that are teams that have really impressed me at their best. I think there's obviously some teams that I didn't mention that haven't reached their potential yet. And I think if Alabama was smart, they'd go back to Jalen Milroe, because I believe they could make the college football playoff with Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe did play bad versus Texas, but what they showed at quarterback today is not making the college football playoff, period. Their defense is good enough. I think their wide receivers are good enough. I think the running backs are iffy. I think the offensive line is iffy, and they don't have a quarterback. So that's their issue. Clemson looked better today. I think that Clemson-Florida State game now with Jordan Travis being banged up is going to be interesting. But Texas kicks off Big 12 play next week, and that's going to be really big, guys. It really is. We play Baylor. I don't think Baylor played today. I think they had a bye, and they're not a good team. They really are. Maybe no, they played Long Island, and I'm sure they won that game. They should have won that game. So that was their first one of the season. We're going to be going up against a backup quarterback against one of the 5 worst teams in the Big 12 on the road. But I don't care if it's on the road. You have to win that football game. I'm definitely going to dive deeper into this game, watch it all the way through again, just like I did the Alabama game, and come with more information, more data, more facts, solidify my opinion. And next week when we do talk about the Baylor game, and I will also, again, start with the Wyoming game like I did this week versus with Alabama. Like I said, it's really hard to tell because my streaming kept going in and out. On top of that, it's really hard to tell like what was good and bad without watching it all the way through again. Obviously, I know Quinn did not have a good game whatsoever. I would put his performance at like a D-. I thought Jonathan Brooks had spots that were good moments, but it's pretty obvious, guys. CJ Baxter definitely has more top-end talent than Jonathan Brooks. I was just wrong on Jonathan Brooks. I thought he was going to be fantastic. He's been pretty good, but he hasn't been as good as I thought he was going to be. I think CJ Baxter is that home run hitter we're missing in the run game. Jaden Blue obviously probably fumbles a decent amount in practice. He's fumbled tonight for our first turnover on the season. That's why I don't think he gets carries, because he does show. But the thing is, if you're putting the ball in the turf, that's why you don't play. Because to be honest with you, if we're just lining up run by run with Jaden Blue and Jonathan Brooks, I think Jaden Blue can do most of what Jonathan Brooks does, and he's even a better catcher. But I bet he fumbles in practice, and I bet that's the reason he's not on the field. That would be my guess. But overall, defense gets an A from me. Quinn Ewers gets a D-. Offensive line gets like a C+. Running backs get a B-. Wide receivers get a B. Overall, just like a C- effort from this team. We do end up beating Wyoming 31-10. So that is good. But again, we start slow. Like I said, next week, guys, I will have more for you on this. I'll go in deep on this, and we'll talk about Baylor, obviously. Can you guys please hit that like button? Please subscribe down below. I love you guys on this channel. Again, we do Texas Tuesdays every 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Texas and Big 12 channels. So go over and subscribe to the Big 12 channel, subscribe to the Texas channel, and go get your tickets at ticketsmarter.com. Use promo code BIG for $10 off and BIG20 for $20 off of a $300 purchase. Do you guys have any comments, questions, concerns with me tonight? Overall, Sloppy night from Texas. We do get the win. And at the end of the day, this isn't survive and advance type season to me, guys. I think, again, there's no great team. Just got to survive the Big 12, which isn't very good. And then this team plays up to the competition, no doubt. We've seen that. So that's not my issue. We're going to play good in big games that we have on the slate, like our Oklahoma, our Kansas State, our Kansas. The other games, honestly, I might be more scared of an Iowa State on the road. I know they're really bad, and we have no business even being in a game with them, but we play up and down the competition. Quinn Ewers seems to play up and down the competition more than anyone on this team. I think if Quinn Ewers just played great and everyone else played up and down the competition, we'd be fine, but he's the biggest one to me. He's the most inconsistent. Um, Blue gone next year? Yeah, he is gone. Blue's definitely gone. Jonathan Brooks will probably be back. I don't think he's in. He would get drafted. He'd be like a fourth or fifth round draft pick, but he'll come back. CJ Baxter will be back. We'll have Christian Clark and Jarrett Gibson, and Jane Blue will be gone. Keelan Robinson will obviously graduate. But I like Jane Blue. He's a good player. I think he can play for teams, but I think it's pretty clear that's what the issue is fumbling, because you see it tonight. It was our first turnover of the season, and it doesn't really make sense why else he wouldn't be on the field. I think he's just good at running back overall as Jonathan Brooks, and I think he's a better pass catcher. But if you're fumbling, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. But overall, just a sloppy effort. That's really all I can say, guys. Please, guys, hit that like button. Subscribe down below. I'm trying to grow this channel. I want like 30 to 40 of you guys in here so I can have back and forth comment. So, because, guys, you see things that I don't see, and I see things you don't see. So I like to bounce stuff off people. I haven't been able to do that because I don't have that many people in the chat. Like I said, I it's hard to do too, because you don't get to like dive deep. It's play by play, fast rotation. So I don't get to dive deep into plays separately. And I'll get to do that this week. So when I do go back and I can dive deeper into it, I'll be more confident in what I was seeing, and I'll relay that to you guys, and you guys can come back and you guys can say something that I may not have seen. My gosh, I'm having an issue with my words tonight. It is late. I just watched a absolute shit show of a game, but Texas did get the win, so that is good. We beat Alabama. I know they're not the Alabama of old, but they're still a good Alabama team. I bet at worst, that's a 9-3 Alabama team, guys. I know everyone's hating on them, but they don't know their quarterback situation. Honestly, I think it's more of an offensive coordinator thing for them. I really do. I think if you ran the right offense with Jalen Milroe, you could easily get to the SEC championship game, especially with how bad the West is. Honestly, I don't think A&M's that good. I think LSU is probably – I think A&M will be your hardest game because it's on the road, but LSU is the best team you will play if you're Alabama. But overall, guys, Texas does get the win here, 31-10. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. I will be back 7:30 p.m. Eastern time here on the Texas channel, and then also on the Big 12 channel. Share this with your friends, family. Hit the likes. Smash that like button, please. Subscribe. I will be back then, guys. Hook 'em, guys. I hope you have a great night.